Hi, Klaus.
Hello, audience. Hello, Robert.
Hi.
So we are here for the next episode with Fun with Relux.
Welcome.
Welcome out. Sorry, a little bit confused because we had a little bit trouble with the computer, so we're still a little bit. But now we are here, and now our topic today is online tools. Online tools prepared by Relux.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a little bit. It's not so typical for the most users, but we hope that it's still interesting for you.
It will be interesting. Yeah. We have not just Relux Desktop. We have a lot of other applications, and a couple of them are dealing with online calculations. And today we will show you 3 of them. In the announcement, you have seen that we have 4 of them, but the SensCalc, which is also pronounced, we will cover in a complete episode. So in the November episode, if I remember right, in the November episode, you will have the complete episode just on SensCalc, because this is a bit of new and this is also a bit of special in operations. So it's not the same like you have on the other tools. It's also not about light, it's more about sensors, different sensor placing and so on. So this is covered separately. Today we will have 3 applications. One is the good old OnCalc online calculation tool, which is great if you have not so deep knowledge about lighting and just want to know how many luminaires I need. So this we have seen. This is also available for everybody who can enter ReluxNet. Then we have an application which deals with street lighting, which is online, and also let's say an API way of lighting calculation called SceneCalc. So these are the 3 applications we will show and present you. And yeah, let's have a start with OnCalc.
With OnCalc. Yeah. Okay. Yes, here we are on our homepage on relux.com. I have to check. Yeah, it's already in English. And when we go to the ReluxNet, which is the online selection for products from Relux, where you can select luminaires but also sensors. And
this is now in German.
The ReluxNet. There is the switch. So okay. We have to switch. Okay. Okay, and from here we can select products. I guess everybody of you know this page, or is already sometimes of this page. And when we select here a real simple product for something like this one, for example, and I don't know if everybody of you take care to this button here, to this calculator. To this light calculation buttons, and by pressing this, you can now make a really fast, simple calculation with the selected luminaire.
And simple calculation, by the way. So this is not to compare with a real Relux calculation. It's just LOR, we call it.
Yes, it's the efficiency calculation related, but it is still useful to have just an estimation about the amount of luminaires you need for a given situation. Also for people who have not so much experience with light calculation and with light planning. And here you have the possibility to select a profile. So here are the most common profiles, especially for people who are not so familiar with the levels which are typically used, and so they have an orientation what to use. And I will use here, for example, for the storage room, we have the possibility to change the size of our rooms. Actually, here we can simply use rectangular rooms. Also, I will also set that you can set the dimensions of these rooms, also the mounting height. I'll set it a little bit lower. Then the room height, you have the possibility to change the reflectance, and also you can deal with the maintenance factor. And then you have the possibility to simply press the calculate button, and the program now tells you here that you will need, with 8 luminaires, you will have 103 lux in this situation. So this is estimated, this is not roughly. if your luminaires, if the LDCs are really simple, direct light, and also the room is not is more or less has good propagation, then this value is really exact similar to the result you will have when you make a photometric calculation.
Yeah.
You have also the possibility to change the amount of the required illuminance manually, and then you will see here that it changes. But you can also say, okay, I have in my room, for example, 10 outputs. How many? When I have here 10 luminaires placed, what it will be the result? You can go both ways. It's the same formula, just with another output. And then you have also the possibility here to download the PDF, the result as a simple PDF, which describes the selected luminaire and the results in the given situation for the room which is selected here. We have planned to optimize this a little bit more in the future. And also important to know is that this is not only on ReluxNet. You can also, if you're a manufacturer or interested in this tool, you can buy this as an OEM version for your homepage or for your needs on your.
Yeah. So it's not just on ReluxNet. So on ReluxNet, of course, any product on ReluxNet has this fast calculator. And it's a great tool to have just quick and easy and access of the, let's say, the energy portion, also the method behind it. It's also really energy driven. So you can think about you just paint the energy of the luminaires on the task area, and then you have an amount of energy which you need. You have not any homogeneous values here, not any uniformity, not any glaring values. Everything which is down to in real photometric calculation is not included because of the method. But the method is fast, easy, reliable, and this was the method which the lighting designers has used before it were computer calculations, photometric calculations. So in the early 90s. 80s, you have used this method with a pocket calculator, or even more fancy with a pencil. So this was state of the art, and now it's in online fast calculation. And a lot of luminaire manufacturers, luminaire vendors, dealers have something like this on the website. Potentially our backend of this, because if we sell this fast calculator, this OnCalc to clients, mostly to manufacturers of luminaires, then they often create their own interface, their own front end, their own web page, and just put our mechanic, our backend module to it in order to have this values available. But the math behind it, it's really simple, and it's easy to do, easy to understand, and the results are reliable, as Klaus said, as Lamberton as possible. As direct as possible, and the room shape has to be nicely, not an extreme hallway or something. Then it works quite well. And yeah, and we plan to update this because it's looking a bit of old-fashioned today, and a bit of limited, and there's not a rectangle projection of the room. It would be nice to the users to identify with the room and also to draw in the luminaire position. Something like this is missing here. It's really, really simple, and we plan to create an, internally we call it OnCalc 2, which will upgrade this to a real photometric calculation, because we have these possibilities also in the online world. We will see in the end of this episode that we can do online server-based photometric calculations with homogeneous, with uniformity, with clearing, and so on. And we just want to connect the stuff with a bit of more graphical interface, and then we have a new way of doing fast calculation online. It will be still fast, below 1 second, mainly on the most stuff. You will have then a photometrical output. Yeah, but this is nothing for this year anymore. So hopefully next year, and it's will also an OEM product which we sell to other businesses to apply this on their websites or on their internal usage anyway. Yeah. And I have to say, today, all the fast calculations you find online are based on this energy LOR method. So if you have any fast calculation online, you will not find any photometric. Everything is LOR based, which is okay for a simple and easy use case, but this will not cover the standards. So if you have there just 500, whatever, 300 lux, it's not indicating that you hit all the requirements of the standards. It's just one of the most important, because it's about energy portion or how bright it will be, but you skip a lot of other valuable factors out of the standard. Good. I guess it's enough to the OnCalc.
That's enough to this tool. So we will jump to the next. This is a little bit more complex, even simple, but a little bit more complex. It's called, we call it Relux StreetCalc. This tool is actually not available for normal users. It is only available on certain manufacturer sites who have published them, sometimes just in-house, sometimes also outside of the house.
Not in all regions, for example.
Not in all regions. Yeah. It's a little bit. So what we are seeing here at the moment is just a demo version, which we are using for events like today, or also for when we present this for customers. And it is called Relux StreetCalc, and it is used for finding out useful or the best luminaire which is used in a given street situation. And for that, the manufacturer or the administrator of this tool can prepare luminaires in kind of families, in a kind of portfolios, which includes various LDC curves and various lumen output packages, which are inside of the luminaires, and then you can select what from one of these from them. We have here some examples from Signify, thanks to Signify at that point. And then in the next step, we can use here on the left side, but also here on the button, go to the next step. And the next step is we have the possibility to change our road layout. By selecting here a single carriageway or a double carriageway, we can add border areas like footpaths, which are beside on
bicycle lanes,
or bicycle lanes on the side of the road. At the moment, it is just possible to have two, but maybe if it is needed, we can also extend this to more. Then we click on the next way, on the roadway. Here we have the possibility to change the size of the road, the number of lanes. We can choose the covering material, the R table. The R tables, as you know it from Relux Desktop and all other road calculation programs. You can choose the width of the border areas, left and right. They may be different. And then in the next step, we have the possibility to select the road class, the luminance class. This is a calculation tool, so we are just using the class as an input. So we have actually not a tool to selecting which is the correct class, because this is different in each country. And here you will have the possibility to take a look what are, so if you are not familiar with these values, you can take a check here what are these values mean.
This is 121 13201-2 what we have here. So all the standards are from the European standard, but there is not a European standard, there's a European TR. But the finding, so what is your street in these classes, is quite locally. So that's different in Switzerland as in France, as in the Netherlands. This is down to different road applications in different countries. Could be harmonized, but at the moment it's not available in a harmonized way. So this is local, and this is also something which prevents us to have this kind of class finding module, because it will be just for country to country, and we would need to do it for a couple of times to have our user group covered.
Yes, and we can set the required class for the main surface, for the road by itself, as well for the border areas. And in the next step, we can choose the luminaire layout, which similar as you know it from the Relux desktop program. We have the luminaire layout on both sides, on the left side, right side, staggered. And here a special thing which is called rope, that means in the middle of the road. And then the next point is to start the optimization or run the optimization. And in the optimization, we have various options. We can optimize for the maximum distance between the poles or for the lowest energy consumption. We have the possibility to ignore the TE or the surrounding ratio values if we don't need it. We have the possibility to change the sizes, the
distance between the poles,
the limits between the poles. For example, the most important thing is, I guess, is the distance between the poles. But there are also possibility to make the height and the overhang variable, or for example here the tilt of the luminaire. I will here limit it between 0 and 5 degrees, for example.
It's possible to say to give intervals in which range you will try to find the best solution, and if you have more options, more of the range, then you get some more options to your optimization. But also take a bit of more time if you have a lot of more options. You can also define the step width of it, so it's quite complete.
So very often it is also necessary to use only the optimization between the luminaire types. For example, in the case of replacement, then you will not have the possibility to change the distance, because the distance is given by the existing road. Also, the height is given by the existing poles and so on. In that case, you can.
But maybe you exchange just the poles and not the distance between the poles, and you have flexibility in the I don't know. So where are you flexible? You can put this in. Where flexible, where not flexible, you can shrink it down or fix it down to a certain value.
And then in the next step, we press a result exception, and then we get from a set of luminaires, we will get results to use in this example. Please note, we have here in this portfolios are just a small amount of luminaires. So if you know these products, you will have much more possibilities. But in our example, we have just a small limit of luminaires inside of them, and so we can now see the two possibilities which are useful here in my given situation. And
interesting, with a bit of a tilt, you have a bit of more load per kilometer, or less load of kilometer, so you have more energy efficient by tilting it a bit in comparison of these two.
It makes a lot of calculations in the background and filtering out the results which are the best useful for this. You will also see that it has now here selected the luminous flux, which is variable in this kind of thing. So when I go back to the beginning for the lighting class and switch now, for example, to a higher class and go back to the optimization, then you will see that it now chosen
a higher
the similar optics, but with a higher luminous output to reaching this levels.
And here tilt is not more efficient.
Because they are in steps. In these examples, the luminous flux is in steps, so it is not. I guess it is also in the complete literature, which is really larger than just this both we've seen here. So we may have here differences. Then we can select one of the results, and when we go to the results, we have a result presentation where you can also enter some project information if you want to have some names or something like that.
For the PDF.
If you want to make a PDF printout, you will get all this information as well as the results in graphical downloads, and you have the possibility to make a PDF download. You can also download the LDT file for other purposes. And here, at least, you have the possibility to download a recuts file. I must take care that I use the same. Okay. And then you have the possibility with this recuts file, you can go to Relux Desktop. And then you have to choose here, not open, you have to choose this open from. And you have then the possibility to select this project into the Relux desktop, where you will have, I guess we have now here a little bit this problem here. This is related to this is a rounding problem. We have to take care to take a look on this, and this is a little bit because it accepted this in the online tool because it is the higher class. So which is related. We can choose a higher class. The problem is because I have chosen here the 7.5.
This is a longer discussion. If a brighter sidewalk is still allowed if you have
I had
lower class specified.
At that point where I have chosen from the M4 class, I had also I should choose a higher P class for the border areas that they are in the correct. But we are sure, then you will see here now that it is now in the range of this range of these values. And
what you can see here is that you can do in Relux Desktop more specialized things, more outputs, more table. You have the complete world of Relux Desktop now open and can finish your design if you need to. At least have more reports, also more options to change as you have it in the online tool. In the online tool, it's meant to have you have in Street, you have an application, you know your standard, which you need to apply, and then you throw in a couple of luminaires, families, whatever, provided by the manufacturer, and then you get the best of the results in your flexibility range. So this is the journey behind. Yeah.
And we must fix this stupid rounding problem. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I guess that is one of these numbers has 0.6999999.
Yeah, which is not so.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. This is about the Relux Street.
Again, this is an OEM product, which you call it. So this means it's not available through relux.com or relux.net. This is a tool we provide to manufacturers of luminaires, to vendors, to wholesalers, or to larger design office, engineering offices to find the best ways. Also an interesting product for cities or for maintainers to find the best out of a pool of luminaires. So this is something which we have not direct to consumers in a way, or to designers, which we sell to other business entities in a way. And yeah, so this is something where we want still to show it because it's a nice application, and we hope to find more clients on this, let's say business industrial clients, in order to provide this functionalities to you, especially for street slides, where you have today on almost all manufacturers a lot of variants, a lot of optics, a lot of possibles in luminous flux. There's a lot of options, and it's quite confusing to find the best option. And this tool here helps a lot to find the best out of thousands of options for different optics and luminous fluxes to find the best situation in terms of Euler dots. So this is it to this. So let's come to our last step. This is called SceneCalc. This is hard to demonstrate. I will show you an Excel sheet, which is quite simple. In this Excel sheet, I can make it, I guess, a bit more visible. Yeah. So we have an application called SceneCalc, and in SceneCalc you can calculate scenes. This is in web application, an API, and REST API, where you have access to Relux Desktop on the server base. So you can have Relux Desktop calculations, the radiosity calculations, the photometric calculations, online with a REST API. So there is not any user interface. So you can enter this application just via another application. So there's not a direct user interface. So the user interface would be Relux Desktop, for example. Makes no really sense. So this is a tool especially for the more technical or more other software companies in order to have lighting calculation as a REST API available. We call it SceneCalc, and I show you here Excel, because Excel is for me something where I can do something in programming, so I'm not really an software engineer. And here I can access the REST API, the online service of Relux to perform lighting calculations with photometric, with uniformity, with UGR, as you can see it. And here in this Excel sheet, I just entered a couple of rooms with rectangle. It's also possible to have polygonal rooms, but this means you need to enter coordinates of the rooms, which is full possible with this tool. Then I need to enter photometrics here in this way. All dots can also be different dots in different rooms. It's just simple here in order to have simple results. You need to have an amount of the luminars today. So you need to say, okay, on these positions I have the luminars. So you need to provide the room in coordinates and the luminars in coordinates and the lumina, and then you get an photometric results in below 1 second in the most cases, in the most normal rooms. So it's really fast. It also can be used for online tools in order to have direct photometrical results. And you can see here I have this room entered, and I got here an average illumination and cylindrical illumination and uniformity and the UGR value based on this lumina in this room. And you can change everything. The interface for this REST API is Recut. We have seen Recut as a result out of the StreetCalc to enter in Relux Desktop. So Relux Desktop has a full interface for Recut. You can create Recut files and import Recut files. So you can also create rooms in Relux Desktop, export it in Recut, and put it down to this online calculation. Makes not really sense, but it's good for a software engineer to get hands-on and to get a Recut file proposed. And in Recut, it's an XML structure where you can define rooms, position of luminars, and all of that files in a container, and then you can put it to the calculation service, and then you get instantly back also a Recut file, which you can import in desktop, or which you can open up and go into this XML and get your results of it. Works with task areas, works with objects, geometry, furnitures, everything you have also in Relux Desktop. You can imagine it as you have some kind of Relux Desktop on an online server based, and you can exit it with another application. So, for example, you can have an Excel-driven lighting calculation approach. Also here, going down and created some kind of false colors, because in the result XML you get also all the single calculation point values. So on each calculation point you get values in the sheet, and I just put here with Excel methods some kind of false colors. I just express the values of the calculation on the grid points to an format color thing which has an scale. So this was easy to do in Excel. I just needed to put out of XML the values here in this Excel sheet and end up with this false colors. So this is just an example to show what is possible. Of course, if you have a CAD application, it makes more fun. Or if you have an office or a design office where you have some BIM applications, or if you can use APIs and you have applications with room geometry and luminars, then you can easily loop this thing and find your own optimizations in terms of lighting designs, and you get the Relux results directly in code, in XML, back on your desk, and can have your investigations on the best performance, on the best luminars for your situation based on real photometric calculation. So this is a really nice tool, and again, this is also OEM. It's not available for end users in a way, but of course everybody can have a try. Everybody can buy it from us and implement it on their infrastructure in order to have in their environment photometric calculations available. Yeah.
It's also, for example, we have with Relux Cut for Revit, we have a similar functionality inside of our plugin there for Revit. But for example, if you want to make something similar in another CAD or another BIM system, that you can from there start run calculations and receive calculation results. So this gives you the possibility to implement such an interface for a calculation layer for various applications, not only for Excel, but also for a CAD system or another kind of planning program.
Yeah. And as mentioned before, so the next fast calculator, our next OnCalc calculator will have access to this tool, of course, and then we have this kind of fault colors, this kind of ISO lines also available in the fast calculator online. So this has it's not the same fast as the LOR method. It's impossible because it's so simple. But here it's the same kind. You have to wait below 1 second in the most situations, and then you have it. It's also quite easy scalable. So if you have more load on it, it's easy to scale. It's more possible to scale. Okay.
Okay,
this was the story.
Yes, we are at the end of the time.
Yeah.
And we will take a look if we have questions.
Yep. I put the questions here to the screen. We have one question. And do you think about pure light calculations like light sensor software? Now it looks like Visual 3D or Luxi Flux tools. I do not know Luxi Flux. Interesting. I know light sensor, and light sensor is full cloud-based. Yes, of course, with an interface to Revit. And yeah, but you can also see on light sensor that it's not as easy to operate, especially in 3D modeling, as we have it with a desktop application like the BIM applications today, the BIM offline applications, or on Revit, on Relux, or other classical approaches. So yes, we will go more into the cloud stuff. So SceneCalc, as we have seen, is in cloud-based application. So we can use it in the cloud, but of course, we have to connect to in cloud. It's a question about user interface. So we will see it with OnCalc. This is one of the first steps. There will be there are ideas in the company, not really projects, ideas to go further on and to have more fancy, let's say, online interfaces or to do lighting calculations. But from my personal point of view, it will not be the same as today. We will also see a change in operating lighting calculation tools, cause of BIM, cause of the environment, cause of the data. So we will see an shift of the operation of these tools. And this it's a bit of better to online stuff as it is today with the classical user interfaces. So we potentially use less toolings as before, hopefully. So it would be nice to not have this need of all the tools for 3D modeling, for example. Would be great to make it more simple or to make it more interconnected. So it's also one of the philosophies which we try to express by having good, let's say, corporations on the market, for example, with Enscape or with MREX or with all other. We have a lot of corporations where you see, okay, this guy has good, let's say, and good modeler for something or a good renderer for this. And we have, of course, a really powerful lighting calculation core, and we try to connect. And this will be a bit of the future to have it more cloud-based. Of course, it's scalable, interconnectable, but it's not fixed. So for me, it's an interesting time, interesting journey. But it's I would not go so far to say it's everything just in the cloud and nothing works locally or offline again. This will be shown, but we going in this direction and also dealing with more, or we at least we think about hardly about the perfect user interface for lighting calculations. I have to say, especially with the upcoming artificial intelligence stuff, in our case, machine learning stuff, to automate a lot of the calculation efforts or making other assistance to your design work. So this is something which is interesting, but not so easy to answer as you can hear. Yeah, thanks for the links.
We know them.
Yeah. Visual 3D, I know it's if I remember correctly, this is one of the best LOR tools I have seen online, if it's the same. So it's quite graphical. It's even 3D graphical in a simple way, if it's the same. So this is one of the best LOR online tools, at least from the past. We will see what happens in future. And yeah, okay. Any more questions? Now's the last chance to put other questions. If not, it's also fine.
Yeah, then
don't mind.
Then we will just have to say what the next episode is. Really close to this one. It's just 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's on the 12th of September. So on the 12th of September, we have our next episode, same time slots, also Thursday. It's about obtrusive light. So we'll have a special episode filled up with obtrusive light. This is, we have a new model published a couple of weeks ago, and we want to show you what is possible to calculate this obtrusive light, and also what is the sanitization situation behind it, what you need to know, and if you are an outdoor lighting designer, if you have to deal with outdoor lighting, then this is an interesting episode for you, because everybody, at least in, I have to say worldwide, everybody has to deal with obtrusive light, with light pollution and the negative effects on the environment out of light. So you should at least be aware of the situations. And then we will show you what we know about sanitization and demonstrate our new tool regarding this. Okay, yeah, then thanks much.
Thank you, and hope we see you next time, and have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.